everyone. I'm delighted to bring you the first in our BE Limitless chat series. Coming off the cataclysmic impact of COVID and in what is definitely a VUCA world, I was just wondering how CMOs or Chief Growth Officers, as many companies title them, will steer their businesses to succeed in a vibrant and uncertain future. In my view, you have to come to this with the mindset of a game changer, which is how I thought of Anurita Chopra, the head of marketing for GSK Consumer Healthcare, to come to talk to us. And here she is. Hey, Anurita, big warm welcome to you.
Hey, Sangeeta, it's lovely to be here. Thanks so much for inviting me to have this conversation with you. Really delighted to be here, and the privilege is entirely mine.
Wonderful. So let's get started. Anurita, in your experience, how can businesses steer forwards in this vibrant, uncertain, ever-changing world?
Well, actually, I think the answer lies in your question, which is how do you steer? Well, you steer by being who you are. If you're in a driver's seat, you don't just jump out of the driver's seat. You first, you know your driving style, you know your car, you know your vehicle, you know the road that you're on. So the first thing is be true to your game. You better know the game that you're playing. The second is when you're then in a VUCA world, coming across various terms that you haven't planned for, then be agile. Be aware, be alert. For example, if the consumer is standing with big billboards and saying, listen, I don't like this, read that signboard. So be agile, be aware, take a turn, even if you've not planned for it, but keep driving.
Nicely put, very nicely put. Which brings me to the second question about strategy. So while we drive through this unknown, emerging world, there has to be this big thinking strategy that goes along with it, right? So could you talk to us a bit about that?
Absolutely. And Sangeeta, it's a fantastic question because, strategy is, and we've all grown up reading this, learning this, being told this, but strategy is king. Strategy is where it all begins. But even beneath that, when you unpeel the onion, it's all about the consumer. So be clear about who you're catering to, what your line of business is,
Right.
where you want to go, what your strategy is, and be a game changer. Don't just follow the herd. Don't just do what's being done earlier. Be okay about reinventing, be okay about experimenting. Change the game because the lens will completely change. And sometimes people get so stuck with following their own rules, but you dig back and you go back 10 years, 15 years in the same history and you ask, who did this? Well, it's us. It's done because it's done. But I think true strategists, one, follow a certain path, believing in that path, but are very comfortable also changing the path when they know the tide is turning. People who get married to a certain path are also the ones who then struggle on that path.
Right. And in the old days, we used to do something called the long-term plan, which used to go across 3 years of every business that the company did. And I believe now, if it goes across 3 months or 6 months, you're doing well. At least you've charted out some path for yourself. So it's a very holistic sort of approach to business. And I hear you saying that you need to be agile to adjust to what's coming up right in front of your screen, be willing to take the turns, recognize all the signs along the way, and then reset a course, right? And the guiding principle, which is being true to your purpose, being true to the consumer, and knowing what business you're in. Then we'll talk a bit more about that later. While marketing is a blend of art and science, there are a lot of naysayers still in the industry. And I still hear some people saying marketing is really a cost center. What do you think?
Well, I think I can just start with God bless them. If I may just, be a little naughty and clever at the same time. But I think, it goes back to where your ideology as an organization really starts. And what do you think you're doing? if you think you are creating value for the consumer, be it a foods organization, be it apparel, be it fashion, be it e-commerce, be it technology, whatever, the point is you will win only when you're creating value for the consumer. And what are the
Right.
two words therefore in that sentence? The consumer, and therefore how do you keep everything centric? It's not just about advertising. Marketing is not just about advertising. You're generating demand for sure, but I guess you've spoken to the consumers 2 years 3 years in advance to understand where the consumers wishes and demands are going, because you know what, if you don't understand it, someone else will.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's an undying truth here, which I think sometimes companies uh, tend to forget, which is that if you ain't got a consumer or a customer, you ain't got a business. You don't need
Exactly.
supply chain, technical, finance, human resources. You don't need anything if you don't have that consumer who's willing to uh, consume your products and services regularly, right? So
Absolutely.
that's the undying truth of business. So
Yes.
so I hear you saying that it's much more. Yes, it spends the money, right? Because nothing comes free. If you want to have a dedicated cohort of consumers, you need to find them. You need to present your proposition to them, and then follow
Yep.
them, right? And so it does
Yep.
cost you money, but it's not a cost center. It's a value
Yeah.
center. That's what I
Yeah.
hear you saying. So tell
Exactly.
me, how did the company come to focus on launching oral care in India, which is your
Now you
forte,
make
right?
well, so they say, but now you go make me go back 10 years in history, because it's been 10 years of Sensodyne in India.
Right.
But way back, GSK in India was known more for its nutrition business. But clearly, as I said earlier, that if you are an agile and a consumer centric company, then you would know that this is clearly a need that is there in the market, in the consumer's mind. There's a need state. And in this particular case, oral health in India had been a very, very penetrated category, actually. It's a 10,000 crore category, for all you say. But it's largely toothpaste and toothbrush, and that's all it is. And from a need state perspective, it was largely cavity, cleaning teeth, and just about it. But the way we saw it was from a very different lens, which is 1 in 3 people suffered from a condition that they didn't know was tooth sensitivity. And how big does that sound to you? 33% of a country like India with 1.3, 1.4 billion people and counting. How does it not sound like a fantastic opportunity from a business perspective? But more importantly, putting the consumer at the center of it and saying, here is a problem that we want to solve, which goes back to the purpose and mission of GSK, where we want to create healthier lives. If it was in the space of oral health, so be it. Did it scare us that we are entering a highly mature category? No, it didn't, because we saw it differently. So for us, yes, that's how it's been.
I would call that, Anurita, having a limitless strategic lens, where you're not caught in an existing market definition
No,
or an existing construct of market, which says,
no,
the oral care market in India is 11,000 crores. And you're not even looking at that market.
no.
You're saying 1 in 3 people have tooth sensitivity, and that's my market. And that is
Exactly.
what I mean by shifting the game. It's a
Yeah.
game changing thought that I'm not
Yes.
bothered about, chasing a percentage share of an existing
Yeah.
market. I'm going to
Yeah.
create a new market because it doesn't
Yes.
exist in India because no one's done
Yeah.
it before me. And that
Absolutely.
needs a brave new heart to do it. So,
Actually,
so
I was about to touch on
and
bravery, but thanks for saying that.
yeah, no, I think brilliantly done. I know that Sensodyne is a big success, and you're not stopping at that. So you've also sort of proved the pearly whites wrong. They've sort of started and ended at the pearly whites, and you've gone well beyond that. No, so fantastic. And you in our last conversation, you used a line which stuck with me. So I'm going to say it here. You said no one has opened the market for these silent sufferers, and it's so true.
Yeah.
You don't. It's not something you normally talk about. If
Yeah.
somebody offers you ice cream, you'll say, I'm not so fond of ice cream, but you're dying to eat that ice cream, but you're going to hurt like hell because
Yeah,
you have sensitive teeth.
true.
Or that wonderful rasgulla that everybody else is just popping into their mouth. So it is about underserved silent sufferers. And I thought that was a very important line for me. Somehow
You're right.
it had a lot of empathy in it.
That's true. You'll be surprised that yes, ice cream and rasgulla is there. A glass of cold water, Sangeeta.
Yeah,
You're coming in home from a hot, sweltering afternoon, or you're
yeah,
working hard in the market and you're,
yeah,
earning your bread. You really want that glass of cold water, but you can't because it
can't. Yeah,
hurts. It hurts.
right,
And how,
right,
so we actually talk about the lowest common denominator, which
right.
is a glass of cold water, a cup of hot chai.
Yeah, yeah. Just the
How about
basic
having
things. Yeah,
exactly? And
amazing. Yeah,
why suffer? Why? It's
yeah,
just needing a change in toothpaste, and that's all it
right,
is.
right. So this brings me to my next question, which is about, could you tell us a little bit about how did you go about building the business of oral care?
Right. And that's a it's I could go on, but I'll
I,
try to piece it together.
right,
The first thing, Sangeeta, and I keep saying that product is king. Yes, strategy is king, but first you have to be very true to what you're offering to the consumer, so the product better deliver. And we believe in the science of our product. It works. We've come with loads and loads of research. We operate in more than 156 countries in the world. We even adapted the product to the Indian palate with higher freshness, little more sweetness, little more foaming, because those are things which are important to the Indian consumer. You do want to brush in the morning and have that brushy, pasty feel. So those are nuances that we got. Then it was all about this brand, this business is all about authenticity. So that we for years we've not gone behind glamour. We've been very, very
right,
true and centric to the authenticity of our promise. One of the biggest pillars for us have been our dentists. So we reach out to more than 45,000 dentists across India, but more even connected digitally. And there we'd probably talk to about 150,000 of them. They believe in the science of Sensodyne. They prescribe Sensodyne. And when a consumer uses Sensodyne, there is so much goodwill. We change people's lives, and we hear all the time, we hear back from them that how liberating it is to just eat what you feel
wonderful.
like, to drink
Yeah,
what you feel like. So that was another pillar. For us, it was also about shopper experience. So if you would have pre-COVID visited a lot of modern trade pharmacies, you would have seen, big aisle structures of Sensodyne, because for us, we're proud of what we are. We're proud of, the promoter standing there giving you a little bit of a checkup test that if you have this glass of cold water without wincing, you're good. But if there's a wince, then you could be suffering from tooth sensitivity. And why don't you try Sensodyne? As high as 20% conversion. And then, of course, last but not the least, is a lot of relevant innovation for this country. Whether it is the right brush with soft bristles, people in India brush their teeth as if they're washing, hard clothes. But
I
you're
know.
you're
Yeah,
rubbing off enamel and you're
yeah.
exposing your dentine, which actually is sensitivity. So
Mm,
we've got brushes with soft bristles, because we
mm.
we are like, these are the only set of teeth you have. Be kind to them. But those are literally the key building blocks of our strategy, that we went in for experience in
Right.
places that mattered, like modern trade or even e-commerce. We went behind the science, both through dentist and consumer. We innovated with the right products and superior science, and we made sure that from a delivery perspective, we were where the consumer wants.
Right. And I remember mentioned in the past how it's important to follow the consumer because the consumer today is, it's gone are those days when you look at some communication only. So the consumer is very aware and they read a lot of blog posts, they follow influencers, they look at what other people say about those products and services. So is your product also in that category?
Oh yes, absolutely. For us as well, and thanks for bringing that back. That yes, uh, be where the river flows. Be rather than attempt to change the flow of
The
that
flow of the
stream.
river. Right.
Literally. If the consumer is wanting to go pick up your product from the nearby chemist, you better be there. Or from a modern trade outlet, you better be there. From an e-commerce platform, you better be there, because she's not going to waste too much time. In any case, look at our lives, highly cluttered lives. So for us, our channel strategy also has evolved from very simply, where is the consumer? Where do I need to meet the consumer? Where she is. And that's as simple as that. So be it grocers, be it chemists, be it modern trade, be it e-commerce, exactly where the touch point for the consumer, more importantly, to see the product, frankly, experience what I just spoke about, and get advocacy from experts who are the dentists. That's pretty much been part of our channel strategy.
Right. And to pull off so many aspects around, uh, let's say, a brand or a business, and make it all work together seamlessly to make sure that, you're steering the business forward, doesn't this require a significant level of collaboration with the other functions like the CIO, the CSCO, the CFOs, right?
It
Uh,
does. It does. You're absolutely right. It's like a football team playing together. Well, your goal is the same. So the first is that how do you have a vision, a compelling vision, and how do you share that vision so that you carry everybody forward? But
right.
again, you go back to consumer centricity. If we are very clear as an organization, which we are, that we are committed to give people healthier lives, to sensitivity free lives, then everything gets geared towards that. Whether it
Right.
is the sales system, which is very, very passionate about building, they take pride with every new milestone in the success of Sensodyne. There's huge pride in the sales system. The finance team is equally passionate about saying that what can we help you with so that we have a rock solid P&L. So whether it is or supply chain, with such a fast growing business, there are times when you're not able to forecast exactly
Right.
to the T
Right. Right.
how they're able to gear such that back end supplies are met, the best cogs, so that again you're investing the same monies back into generating demand for the consumer. So a lot of it coming together. But you're right, you can't do this alone. It is not just marketing's mission or problem. It is an organizational mission and vision, and for us, it
Right.
really does come together.
Right. BBD is on. You want to give us any example around how you could organize everybody around the BBD? Big Billion Day, sorry.
Well, actually, yes. So as I said earlier, that be where the consumer is, and it is about at that particular time, and be it an Amazon or a Flipkart or whichever be the
Yeah, yeah,
partner. The point is that in those few days, in those 4 to 6 days or 10 days, depending on the window, you better be there from just the right visibility. So, for example, it could be about multi-packs. We know that from e-commerce, people
right.
do buy multi-packs because either you're looking for a better deal, or you're willing to try different flavors, or frankly, in e-commerce, we've also seen that people upgrade. So there is a higher, larger pack phenomena, a more premium pack phenomena, which is great for all businesses.
Right.
But
Mhm.
how do you therefore invest monies on these platforms exactly at that time so that you're driving footfall, you're driving conversion, you're
Yeah,
putting A plus content, which is the video content, that people experience so that they know about your product. Today, people are not searching on open platforms about the product. They will come to an e-commerce platform and want to know more
right.
about what your product is about. So are you supplying the right information within that platform? So a lot of this kind of thinking
Mm,
in platform
mm,
thinking also
mm.
happens
Right.
from the domain of marketing.
And, in our conversation, you were talking about how, a Prime Day sale on Amazon really needs a lot of planning to come together for it to succeed. And
Yeah.
I think we also spoke briefly about the ROI on this sort of an exercise. So,
Yes.
and the
Yes.
importance of doing a return on investment kind
Yeah.
of look at these
Yeah.
kind of programs. Yeah.
Absolutely. Where today, Sangeeta, gone are the days when you're mounting programs and measuring them at the end of the quarter to see whether strategically this campaign worked or didn't work, to
Mm.
go in the right direction, etc. or not. This is about daily. This is about knowing that, did you get traction today? Is your asset working hard enough? Is it getting the right clicks at that point in time? Is the click through rate also effective enough, or are you spending a lot of money just to get one click? So clearly efficiencies, effectiveness, and you're measuring them pretty much on a, if not a daily, at least a weekly basis, depending on whichever organization that you are and how critical that particular vertical is for you. But it's on the job and it's in the day, and you need to be agile and measurement friendly such that you are able to change tactics as well. You know
Right.
which packs will work, which one you pull off, which one will need more stock, which assets you need to be tinkering just a little bit. It could be just a headline, it could be just the 6 second before skip ad, where you're just talking about the product and the promise, and whoosh, you know then it's
Right.
not about the big bonanza and the big drama.
Sure.
One of our campaigns actually in Sensodyne which has worked for us is faces, which is that
Okay.
face, that pain of sensitivity, which is just when the woman cringes, and is this the pain that you feel? Is this the ache that you feel? But this is the face of tooth sensitivity. That worked for us. We mounted it on digital. We checked it on Google on, a brand lift survey. We found
Right.
21% higher intent. Then we put it on television because we
I
knew
see.
that
Okay.
it's resonating, it's hitting the pulse of the consumer, that yeah, this is the pain I feel, this is the problem that I face. It's worked for us.